Arielle is from Sydney, Australia. At 18, fresh out of high school, craving freedom and adventure like any teenage girl, the last thing she wanted was muddy roads and mooing cows. Her parents planned her summer holiday break. She will be away for 4 weeks from home and stranded in a farm with her mom's youngest brother alone. She was pissed off because her parents didn't want her to be UN supervised for the summer vacation. She had begged her parents multiple times on her plans for the summer. She plans to get a part time job at a mall with her friend Jen. Her father then asked her, "Have you finished?" with an attitude, and she replied, "No." Uncle Felix is my mom's youngest brother, and at 35, he was a busy dude. He ran the farm's entire operation after Grandpa's passing. He stood at 6 foot 2 inches tall, broad shoulders that framed his firmer abs. In gatherings, we always joke around him as Uncle Thor. He does have some similarities to Chris Hemsworth, I would say. He was in the military training after school, so he always kept the crew cut and rigid personality. He was a definition of order. Unlike me, I'm mischievous, lazy, and love pleasures. I hate the idea of chores and repetitive work. What a great summer to look ahead. The morning came for me to go to my uncle's farm. My mom had knocked on my door telling me to be ready in 30 minutes because my flight was in 2 hours. I was really wishing this day would never come. I'm just melting on my bed as I feel unmotivated and I have no courage to rebel against my parents like my friends. Still in bed, I just started caressing between my thighs. Freedom to be myself, like a yoga bridge pose. I just opened my thigh as wide as I could possibly go, stretching the tension away, and it felt good. I had on and off relationships, nothing serious, just hookups and experimental stuff. Boys don't seem to take anything serious. We call it bubblegum love, chew until it's sweet. Taking me out of my train of thought, there was another knock on my door. This time, it was my dad. In 15 minutes, you need to be downstairs. Shit, I said, because I was just about to masturbate. Still in my dreading morning days, jumping out of my bed, heading to the shower, I quickly dried off and got dressed. When we arrived at airport, my parents and I checked my flight and handed over my luggage that would need to go the aircraft hold, passed through security and head to my boarding gate. The moment we got there, I knew that I was about to get the talk. Just same old same dull short talks and instructions. Elle, my mom calls me by my nickname. Look, honey, I know that you wanted to stay at home, but you're a young lady now, and it's time for you to learn the truth about life. You're about to go to college, and also you need to learn the value of a skill or a trade. Plus, your uncle Felix needs the extra help on the farm, and he hadn't seen you in the past 3 years. Okay, I replied, a hint of frustration creeping into my voice. Can't he just come to the city? My dad's voice echoed in my mind. Family and friends are important, but the time has come for you to learn money management. He then handed me over a debit card telling me that I must manage my spending. Great, just what I needed for coffee allowances, I muttered. My mom gave me the side eyed look. Trust me, she said, you will find amazing experiences on the farm. I just sighed deeply. The next thing I knew, they were calling out, Flight 370 is now boarding to Queenstown. Just then, my dad's cell phone rang. It was my uncle asking for the flight number and arrival time plus the boarding gate number. My dad gave him the information, then hung up. It was time for me to board. Even though I was still mad, I kissed them goodbye and told them I loved them. Taking one good look and breath of the city life, I wondered what was in store for me on the farm. My flight arrived at 2:30 that afternoon. Knowing my uncle, he was on time. Waiting by the gate, he stood calling out my name. When he saw me, he seemed to be surprised. He couldn't believe how much I had grown. Uncle, I called out with a small smile. Well, oh my, the caterpillar has left the bag, he said, eyes roaming my body, pulling me into a warm bear hug, squeezing me to his chest, and kissing my forehead. Just from that hug alone made me feel comfortable, but although for weird reasons, my heartbeat was racing up. Maybe it's just anticipation or whatever that is. Geez, Uncle, it hasn't been that long, I said, chuckling. I was being so fake. Here, he replied. Let me help you with your bags. Once we got to the truck, he turned to me. Are you hungry? I nodded. Yes, of course. Good, I packed us some lunch. We should be at the farm in about 45 minutes, and you can find the food bag down the seat. Yay, no worry, I replied, settling into my seat. As we drove, I felt the strangest sensation like he was attracted to me. Women can pick up signs when a man is into us. Sure enough, he glanced over and said, So, L, you got any plans for college? My uncle calls me short L. Yep, I replied, keeping my eyes on the road ahead. What major? Well, actually, double major. Oh? He raised an eyebrow. In what? Marine biology and oceanography. He nearly choked on his breath. Wait, what? I tried not to laugh. Yeah, I love the oceans. I explained to him why I wanted to take up those courses. Don't you know that 70% of the earth is covered by oceans? My uncle just put a puzzled face as I explained. Then he said mockingly, Marine biology. I don't even know you at all, El. As we drove on a quiet moment, I couldn't help but take in the fresh air and peaceful scenery. Uncle Felix turned off the main road into a smaller winding path. As we approached the property, I couldn't believe the view. It was beautiful. Horses grazed the fields, cows mooed from the barn, pigs rolled happily in the mud pen, and chickens clucked in the hen house. This way, let me show you your room, Uncle Felix said with a smile. I definitely needed to freshen up because it was hot as hell. Uncle Felix handed me a set of towels and he closed the door behind him and just left